Of Lady, the call of the forbidden place. Do you think disobedience is a child's sin? You've heard from adults that curiosity kills, but they never tell you the other side of the story. Have you ever felt an uncontrollable urge to go through a forbidden door just because it exists? If it were your last day or your last chance, what secret would you risk seeing even though you knew no one else could save you? Today, you'll learn another story from the brothers Grimm, about a girl who, like you, decided to discover for herself the price of defying the order given, and never came back the same. Perhaps you realize that before getting burned, everyone has felt this impulse, this push towards the unknown. Remember the fruit in the biblical myth of Adam and Eve, representing all of humanity and each one of us? What's behind the forbidden door? In the village where whispers weigh more than the wind, a restless little girl is the daughter of unheard advice. Of all the houses, one that is always warned and forbidden to her unites fear and fascination. The Goblin Lady's mansion, nestled on the edge of civilization, where frightening prodigies and banished wonders are said to occur. Her parents repeat, "If you go in there, you will no longer be our daughter," which is the same as asking to come in. No child sees the lady, but everyone imagines the horrors and miracles behind the curtains too large and too thick, the long shadows in the garden, the loud and muted sounds. But that's where desire lies, where the attention of adults is reinforced, focused, and suddenly temptation also grows. On a starless night between the cracks of childhood and the birth of forbidden desire, she decides and says to herself, "Today is the day to find out. Do you obey out of fear, or because you don't remember that you also want it?" With each step down the cobblestone street, the girl feels a fire grow in her chest, unable to define or discern whether it is fear or excitement. He knows he could lose everything, his name, his family, perhaps even his soul. But the warnings from neighbors and his parents' friends have become nothing but noise. But within her, two voices pulse and stand out, dueling, that of her parents. "The world is dangerous, stay in line, don't ask." And that of her own shadow. "And if only then did you know what your parents already know, and if only by knowing do you become whole." Maya, she decides to go, step by step. She advances the gate and knocks on the door, and the door creaks, her hand trembles. But curiosity overrides fear. In a whisper, she thinks, "No one comes back the same from there. Some don't even come back. But what if they come back bigger?" The conflict boils down, in short, to a leap into oneself, without a net, without a map, without permission. What is in every forbidden desire? Entering the Goblin Lady's house is more than just crossing a forbidden threshold. There, objects are larger than need. Paintings stare back, corridors bend endlessly. It's the mythical territory where childhood ends and the real adult world begins, but also the place where fear tries to protect you from what, secretly, you want most. The monstrous male figures that cross the girl's path are projections of everything that threatens her. Her body, her drive, the unknown of adult life. They are also ghosts of required rules, written by the morals of others. The lady appears not as the classic witch, but as an elegant and cold figure. Impassive, she represents the stark reality of life with all its implications, queen of what is achieved through risk. She is the enigma of all fear, immobile but totalizing, determining, real. And when the girl reveals her intention, "I just wanted to see the prodigy," the lady responds impassively, without any emotion, without hesitation. "Want to see a secret? Then become matter with fuel for the fire." Desire becomes punishment. The crossing gains an instant price. Every desire has its price, and it always warns you even if you don't listen. Are you ready to pay? The dialogue with the lady is dark. It echoes ancient myths, the temptation of the forbidden fruit, the warning of the myth of Perseus, Little Red Riding Hood surrounding the wolf. But here, the girl is no longer innocent. She knows the danger, trembles before the reality, but refuses to back down. The terror is fully manifest. The prodigy she sought is the revelation of her own desire, and it is devastating. Being burned, becoming firewood, becoming fuel for the secret, is the radical experience of those who exceed the limit just to know what lies ahead. A prodigy is never a blessing but a shock, a warning and an initiation at the same time. In the fire, the girl experiences the truth she so suspected. When desire is greater than fear, it transforms even the body into a thing to be consumed. She understands too late in life that certain mysteries exist to be guarded, to be a security. They are a defense, not a prison. Certain prohibitions protect more than they restrict. Only those who burn and survive grow and evolve. How would you come out of this experience? It's impossible to leave Lady Goblin's house unscathed. The girl, now a piece of firewood, is a symbol of how many have paid dearly for going beyond what's permitted. This is the mythical crossing, where every real transformation requires symbolic death. As her desire burns, she unfolds into cherished memories: the mother's embrace, the father's protective voice, the little blanket's shoulder, the safe light of the room, the warmth of fragile bonds. Everything fades until only the naked, priceless desire remains, and the fire doesn't breathe, doesn't ask what she wanted. It only consumes, burns everything that will no longer be essential. But from this burning, something else emerges: the perception that in order to grow, one must die to be recognized. And in a certain sense, these deaths are a natural process, where the child ceases to exist for the adolescent who becomes the young person, who also becomes the single adult, who disappears for the father and mother to appear. And whenever one overcomes limits imposed by others, one will live one's own limit and confront its consequences. The viewer understands. Those who seek shadow also find growth, but never without scars, without marks. The girl becomes a myth, an example of what can be lost when one seeks too much, but also of what can be gained: awareness of one's own size, even if it is at the last moment. What's your forbidden house? What do you still long to see, even knowing the risk? This one with the Grimms, it seems simple. Don't disobey, don't seek out bad company. But it actually speaks to the universal desire to challenge limits. We all carry a forbidden house within us, a dark place, a desire, a response we know, warms us and frightens us at the same time. Growing up is learning which doors to walk through safely and which to honor as the frontiers of possibility. I can even enter, but it's not convenient for me. The price is too high. The price of true crossing is never returning unscathed. Every curiosity has its Goblin Lady. Every secret kept by adults exists to be tested by youth. And every wood smoke that rises up there is of forbidden desires, the traces of someone who wanted to experience the imponderable and did not evaluate all the consequences. The story serves not only to scare but to warn. Not every fire is an end, and not all obedience is a virtue. It is up to each person to choose their paths and forks in the road, knowing that each choice leads to another that brings with it consequences that are not always good or rewards. There are nights in life when we only know who we are after defying the order. But there are also scars that can only be extinguished in the fire, or become embers, memory, power. If it has piqued your desire, don't stop here. If this story sparked your curiosity, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss any more crossings, and share it with those who live surrounded by fear. Tell me in the comments, which forbidden house do you still want to enter? What does the Goblin Lady symbolize in your story? Have you ever paid a high price to learn a secret? I read every experience, because every flame has its story, and no risk well lived is a fire wasted in vain.